Hey guys, this is just me after the fact. I'll get back to future Emma in a second. I just wanted to let you know that there's a huge trigger warning on this video for gun violence, because we're going to talk about that. That's what the movie's about. And also, I do get a little bit opinionated with guns in general. And I just hope you understand. These are all my personal opinions. I make it pretty clear in the video, but just so you know, this is a place, my Patreon is a place for me to be open and honest with you guys, and share my opinion. And whether we agree or not, that's besides the point. I just want to keep being honest with you guys and being uncensored. Let's go back to the past. Hello friends, and welcome back to another Patreon only video. I'm gonna go see NITRAM. I believe that's how I say it. I mean, it's an Australian film, so hopefully I got that right. Tonight, I have only just looked up what it was about. In my last Patreon Only Come With Me, I talked about a local cinema that is giving me screenings, like I get on their screening PR list. I've seen so much about this thriller kind of pop up for the last, I guess, couple months just on socials and stuff like that. I haven't looked into it, but I know there's been some buzz about how disturbing and unsettling this film is. So obviously, as soon as I got the email, I signed straight into it. I was like, yes, I would like to go to this one. And it's just after a work day for me, so it's the perfect way to unwind. Until I saw what it was about just before recording this, I just pulled it up and I'm like, oh, I should really look up what it's about. I could go in completely blind, but it would be fun to tell you. NITRAM is about the Port Arthur massacre. So if you don't know, and I guess trigger warning, actually I'm gonna learn it all tonight, I guess, but in Tasmania here, there is Australia doesn't have too many, well, I should reword that. Australia doesn't have too many gun violent shootings, and this was one of the really, this is the defining, this and another one was like the defining moments of Australia and gun law and all that kind of stuff, from what I know. I don't know too much about the details of the massacre, but it's just extremely famous, and it was in 1996. So this one stars Judy Davis, Essie Davis, and Caleb Landry Jones, which I'm sure you're all familiar with him. He has a very his features, he's very distinctive in a good way, but he's in a lot of horror movies. I had no idea, is he Australian? No, he isn't, he's American. I was gonna say, I had no idea he's Australian, but you would know him from Get Out, 3 Billboards, X-Men, so anyway, I think that he might be the troubled kid. So we might have one of those kind of situations on our hands. This is one of the topics that really freak me out, understandably for everybody, but so there's something about this that gets under my skin, and I don't know all of the details, so I'm really interested in this film, even though it may not be the relaxing evening I'm looking for. I'm very interested to see how they put this together. I think that, telling these kinds of stories, it's so interesting the way they do it. So I don't know too much more about the film. I mean, that's pretty much enough for me. Let's go watch it and let's see if it's worth your time. It's gonna be a solemn one. There's not gonna be many jokes after this clip, so stay tuned. Let's go. How's that for a spotlight? Hi guys, I just got back from watching NITRAM. It is a NITRAM. It's the nickname of the main character. So sorry for the spotlight, and also I didn't do a walk-in because it is raining. That's why I'm a little bit wet and I'm in the dark. That movie was incredible, absolutely incredible. One of the best films I've seen this year, but I'm almost like on the verge of tears. I think I might actually cry, to be honest. It was a lot. It was a lot. I did not know that story. And I want to make it clear that, okay, well, let's just talk about what the film's about. So the film is about this really troubled boy and his family, and just he's just troubled from the start, and everything that could go wrong goes wrong. I don't mean to laugh, it's just a reaction to how fucked up this world is. He's a troubled boy, and he's looking for like a hobby or something, and he meets this woman, and who is really rich and lives in this house with all these dogs, including a Great Dane. But also, I do want to say really quickly, because there are a lot of dogs involved in this movie, and also, sorry if you can hear the rain, I'm gonna leave in somewhere in the down below what happens with the animals, because I don't want anyone to stress. I mean, I've kind of given it away, but don't stress. Just, I was stressing the whole movie about that, but it's not really a spoiler because it's just kind of scenery. I know I probably shouldn't say that about animals, and I don't mean that about animals usually, but for this, I guess it's part of the real story. And I really want to look up the real story now, because this movie is so insane. Like, I'm not emotional for the reasons you think I am. I can't believe that this is real or this happened this way. Like, it's such a complicated, long story about him. And I do want to make it clear that although you can, like, sympathize, I guess, with, like, the system, and I guess that's with every single tragedy that happens in the world, you can sympathize with, especially mental health. He's, like, got depression, and he's dealing with a lot of issues, and I know that you can sympathize with that and people not getting the right help, but it's also about, you know, gun laws and all that kind of stuff, and I don't think that they painted him as... It felt like at the start that they were painting him as, you know, like this kind of sympathy, he's this loner, this sad story, but I do want to make it clear that that doesn't, he's obviously at fault for a lot, and you can, yeah, I don't think that carries all the way through. I think that they tried to tell this story in a, it is complicated. It's complicated to fictionalize brutality in this kind of way, and to tell it in a succinct story. So there's no real right way to do that, I don't think. But Caleb, sorry, I really hope it's not too loud. Caleb was absolutely amazing. Like, this is an Oscar-worthy performance if I've ever seen one. I don't even know how he did that. And when I was looking up before where he was from, when the rain's getting really heavy, I'm just going to wait until the rain settles down. Okay, sorry guys, take two. I drove home because I'm only 10 minutes away from the movies, and it just seemed like the rain wasn't stopping, and I'm sure I put a clip in. That was the most insane downpour I've ever driven in all of my years of driving. Seriously, I was so scared, and a lot of people had their high beams on and were like blinding each other. Sorry, I know this has nothing to do with the movie, but this is like, I think we're experiencing some flooding. Like, I can tell because our storm drain just in our car park is over, it's like, it's full, it's overflowing. So all outside of my car is wet, like where it's not meant to be. Anyway, I think my town is flooding. This happened like last month as well. So anyway, I'm glad I drove home so I could finish this, and I didn't listen to anything because I wanted to keep it fresh in my mind. What I was saying, this has been eventful. Hey, I've cried, I've driven through a flood. Caleb, he was phenomenal, and the amount of emotions and depth that he had to do for this role is insane. And what I was saying is, when I was looking up if he was Australian or not, because it's very strange for him to be randomly doing this movie, he's from Texas, which is very interesting when it comes into like gun law and all that kind of stuff. Just so you know, my background on guns, I don't want this to be political, and you know what, I guess in a way it is, but it's more political, I guess, for my American friends. But here we don't really practice identity politics, so, or as much. So when I say I like something or something like that, it doesn't mean I align with anything. Just to keep that clear. But my parents, well, my mum and my stepdad, they own guns and they shoot guns, and they're at it like in a gun club in the state they're in. And I was always so against it. There's nothing more scary than having guns in your house. I think it's like terrifying. Anyway, so guns, violence is always something that really is upsetting to me, and as it should be to everybody, but it's just something that I think it's like sometimes it's my line. Like I don't want to get upset, but it just like it triggers me in a way because it's so violent. This is getting out of control. This come with me. But just quickly, I have a past on being like physically abused, and I think guns, like what they represent as in violence, is something that I don't understand how people can carry around with them. And I hope that makes sense, but that is just my personal opinion. And as I said, my mum has a gun, and each to their own. So it's, yeah. Anyway, but I just wonder with the actor, Caleb, what his background is with that idea, because you can't do a movie like this and not think about that. Especially, it has a message at the end. It talks about, what happened. And I do want to say it is a lead up to what happened. It isn't, you don't necessarily see anything. So just keep that in mind. It's about the lead up and his story. But I had just no idea. It's so crazy. Like his story, it's just this, it's a movie. Like I can't even believe some of the stuff that happened. It seems like plot holes. Like I actually don't understand how some of it happened because it just seems so out there, and like not all of this stuff could happen to one person within such a short amount of time. The movie, I would say, though, is less of a thriller. It says it's just a straight-up thriller on IMDb, but it's definitely, to me, more of a drama. And yeah, it's like a slow burn drama. And also, which is really funny, my scoff reminded me, the film starts off with some comedy. Like you see this guy, he just doesn't fit anywhere, and there's just some weird things he does, and his family kind of laugh at it and they kind of make a joke out of it. And I guess that has a meaning in itself where people don't take people seriously, so I can understand that. But it starts off with a very weird vibe, and a lot of people laugh throughout the whole film because it's so uncomfortable. And I think that's what it is. It's just like the most uncomfortable, unbearable film to watch. Like I felt like at times I'm like, this is actually unbearable to watch because it's so sad, and just heartbreaking. So, and again, I don't think it's heartbreaking the dude. Like, sure, I felt sympathy for the fact that he never got, obviously, I don't think it's a spoiler, he never got help. But and it's not like it wasn't talked about in the film. He never got the right help. It's just the feeling of like no one being in control and watching something go so far out of control, which is, yeah, it's just really hard to watch and to know what really happened. It's awful. I'm crying again. The cinematography was amazing. It's a beautiful film with really shallow depth of field, some really interesting shots, and some really interesting like composition with different aspects. Also really love like the set dressing in the lady's house that I talk about. She is very eclectic, and just, her dog's roaming around and she's like in these elegant dresses. It's just a very interesting and strange situation, and it makes for a good looking shot. And a lot of it is, yeah, it's just very interesting to look at. The whole film, I think, is really beautiful in a way. Beautiful but realistic. Like it's very, not, I wouldn't say gritty, but it's not all perfect and neat and tidy. Yeah. So anyway, sound wise, what can I tell you? If you flinch at gunshots, don't watch it. I don't think there was anything overwhelming. It was a lot of nat sound, especially in the house, because it's a lot of like natural surroundings. She's like, she lives alone, and so there's a lot of isolation. So you can feel that, you can hear just the birds. So it goes with a really natural soundtrack. There's not a lot going on with that, I would say, from what I can recall. But it was just the performances that really blew me away in this film, and I think it's worth seeing for that alone. I can't imagine there is any role in this film that isn't completely 600% challenging and just pushing you to the absolute limit as an actor. Like, to get these emotions out is just insane. And oh my god, even the dad, it was just a lot. And it is a very tough watch, but I highly recommend this. Such a good Australian film, and just so worth it. And yeah, just very emotional, intense, I guess I would say. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. I think I was gonna give it an 8, but it's just so different and interesting the way they put it together. I do think people are gonna have problems with people sympathizing with the character, but the way they chose to tell it, I get it. They chose to tell her leading up to a situation, and there's always gonna be that sympathy if you're following a main character. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like you sympathize with him, but you just sympathize with the whole fucking situation. You know what I mean? And I do think that there may be an issue with having, because I didn't even know if it was like a lone gunman or like 2 or whatever with this situation. So I wonder if that's an issue as well, calling it his name and dedicating a film to him in a way. But it in no way like glamorizes anything at all, or makes him look like a good person at all. It's scary, but it's scary in a drama, slow kind of way. I wouldn't say it's like a terrifying edge of your seat. That's why I didn't say it was a thriller. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it I keep going back between an 8 and a 9. I'm going to put the number on the screen now because by the time I edit this, I'll have a couple of days to think about it. Anyway, I hope I described that well. That really affected me. And that's why I kind of want to give it a high score, because it's not often you walk away and you're just like, I don't even know if I should have watched that for my mental health. Anyway, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you so much if you watched this far. And let me know if you're going to watch this one when it's out. Because it's an Australian film, I'm not too sure like what the wide release is. Very interesting. When I came out of the cinema though, one of the attendees was asking the first lady who walked out, okay, so what do you think of it out of 10? And she said, for an Australian film, and then like went to give it a score. And I was like, what? That's so fucking weird to say. That's like, as I said, there's like a lot of snobs at these kinds of screenings. That's like, why would you ever say that? That's so stupid and rude. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I will talk to you all very soon. Thank you so much for supporting me. I hope I didn't offend you. That was not my, that's never my intent. My intent is just to be 100% honest, so I hope you appreciate the honesty. I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay spooky. Bye, friends.